Donald Trump will be deploying election monitors into blue jurisdictions, and the response from Democrats is that he is rigging the elections. I love the argument. The DOJ is going to send people to monitor. They can't do anything else, and that's rigging an election. Let me just stress this one more time for you guys. By sheer virtue of observing their election practice, he is changing the outcome of the election. What's the argument? That were it not for us watching how they're doing things, they would win? It sounds like Democrats have rigged their elections, and the thought of someone making sure they didn't is interfering with their election process. There is something kind of funny when you look at the Constitution and how it prescribes federal elections. The state legislature determine how these elections will take place. And in the event a state decides to rig their election process, then, so long as it's not like overt rigging, they can structure elections in such a way that make it impossible for their enemies to win. Well, now with election monitors being deployed, and likely, in my opinion, National Guard throughout the next year, Democrats are fearful they won't win. Here's my bet. Democrats largely won through ballot harvesting. Many of these states, most states, it's legal to ballot harvest. That means you go to someone's house, you knock on the door and say, hey, I'll take your mail-in vote for you and go drop it off. That's why they want universal mail-in voting. Regular people who don't vote will fill it out. Someone knocks on their door and says, I'll take it for you. Now, in many of these locations, there's a limit on how many ballots you are allowed to harvest. Some, there's none. It's no limit. They go to nursing homes and collect ballots. Well, what happens when a guy pulls up to a ballot box and he's got 500 ballots, but there's an observer standing there with the DOJ? You can't drop him off. So what do? Nothing. You lose. And that's what they're really worried about, at least in my opinion. Now, we're going to talk about this. Donald Trump has joked about a possible third term, although I don't know that he's joking. There's a couple strategies at play as to how Donald Trump could get a third term. And we will discuss all of that. But we've got the New Jersey election coming up. You got New York, and everybody is wondering what's going to happen. Well, my friends, Democrats are expected to win bigly in places like Virginia, possibly in New Jersey. And the narrative will be that Trump is losing, and now Democrats are once again the moral majority. This is what happens if the conservatives do not turn out to vote. So go vote. My friends, it is Backyard Butchers. Guys, I love me a good ribeye. I was a filet guy for a while, but I'm going towards those ribeyes now. You guys have heard of Big Pharma? No, you have. There's also Big Ag, Big AG, Big Agriculture, we call it. 85% of American meat is controlled by just 4 companies. Just because you buy American doesn't mean you're buying healthy, and buying organic only means they control what the cattle eat, not how they live. Backyard Butchers Texas steer steaks come directly from a real Texas ranch where cattle are raised, processed, and shipped from the same location, completely bypassing Big Ag. These Texas steers are 98% grass-fed, 2% natural grain finished, with no growth hormones, no antibiotics, no preservatives. The quality and flavor are exceptional. Make America healthy again starts with going back to our roots and eating real meat from hardworking ranchers who raise cattle right. Go to backyardbutchers.com/Tim. Enter promo code Tim for up to 30% off, 2 free 10-ounce ribeyes, and free shipping when you subscribe. Like I said, I was a filet guy for a while, a nice, medium rare filet. But I've been going for the ribeyes because I just love the fatty parts. I'm a ribeye guy now. Fight back against Big AG with your fork. Support American ranchers. Support Texas. Backyardbutchers.com/Tim. Promo code Tim. Shout out. From the New York Times. Justice Department will monitor elections in California and New Jersey. The Trump admin said the monitors will watch polling in 2 states led by Democrats where key races or issues are on the ballot. And I'm going to say it again as we kick this off. It's almost like, the double slit experiment, for those that are familiar. The act of observing changes the outcome. For some reason, when we watch Democrat elections, Republicans win. Now, I'm half kidding. We don't know what's going to happen. But Trump is sending monitors, and they are screaming fraud at him. It's funny, isn't it? Kind of weird how that works. The Trump admin said on Friday, the DOJ will monitor polling sites in California and New Jersey ahead of the November 4th election. Although election monitoring by the DOJ is not uncommon, it will likely heighten tensions as voters weigh in on some of the nation's most closely watched races. President Trump has pushed the DOJ to pursue parts of his agenda, including going after his political enemies. I ain't playing that game with y'all. Donald Trump has instructed his DOJ to go after criminals. Hey, look, if Letitia James wants to bring fake charges against Trump, and so does, what do you got? What's his name? Bragg? Well, Trump's going to say, you open the door to this. It's funny how the media just lies about everything. You know it. I know it. Voter fraud is exceedingly rare, but Mr. Trump, stop. See, this is the thing about these news articles. Why did they write that? That's inconsequential. They've already pointed out that ballot monitoring, election monitoring is not uncommon. So what's the point of saying voter fraud is exceedingly rare? That's an opinion statement. And this is the crazy thing. It's an opinion. News articles aren't supposed to be like this. But as you know, the corporate press is all about shaping the way you think, not informing you on what is happening. Here's the news story. Donald Trump will deploy election monitors to various states. Democrats have responded by saying that this will interfere in the electoral process. That's what's happening. There you go. There's your news. They say voter fraud is exceedingly rare, but Mr. Trump and other Republicans have since claimed it is rampant, particularly voting by mail, which is how most Californians vote. Democrats have called the argument a ruse for voter suppression. I wonder what's going to happen if California says you're allowed to ballot harvest to the tune of thousands, and election monitors for the DOJ see people bringing in buckets of votes, and they say, hold on there a gosh darn minute, whether illegal or otherwise. Quote, this administration has made no secret of its goal to undermine free and fair elections. Brandon Richards, a spokesman for Newsom, said in a statement, deploying these federal forces appears to be an intimidation tactic meant for one thing, suppress the vote. Why? Why would that suppress the vote? Is it because illegal immigrants might vote? This is the craziest thing. The Democrats play this game where they're like, voter fraud never happens and illegal immigrants don't vote. And then when you say there's going to be a poll watcher, DOJ, they go, well, that's going to suppress the vote. Who? Who is suppressed by law enforcement being at a polling location? Doesn't quite make sense now, does it? Well, here we are, my friends. From KQED, NPR, PBS, Newsom says Trump is rigging the election with federal poll monitors. Oh, wow, this website is formatted very poorly. Oh, boy. Governor Newsom, on Friday, accused a Trump admin of rigging the election by dispatching federal poll monitors to 5 California counties as voters cast their ballots on Newsom's Proposition 50 redistricting measure. I think we have the video here. Mario Nawfal reports it. And here is the whinging governor now.
And I was just on the line because the DOJ is being sent out to California to monitor our election. I have an election in November, Prop 50, a statewide election. They have no business, no jurisdiction to monitor it.
False. They absolutely do. The redistricting has to do with congressional seats and electoral college votes. This purely affects the federal government, for which the executive branch is in charge with enforcing laws and maintaining and protecting the federal government. The state has to abide by certain laws, rules, and regulations, and if they're cheating to advantage a political party in federal elections, the DOJ, of course, has jurisdiction. Who would? We're allowed to cheat in our state and do whatever we want. You can't do nothing about it. Yeah, no, that don't fly. That's not how it works. In an interview with KQED's Political Breakdown, Newsom said the move was a setup for the Trump admin to cast doubt on the potential victory of Prop 50, a plan to redraw the state's congressional districts to advantage Democrats. Now, I don't know if they actually have the clip. This may be the full podcast. I certainly will not. Yeah, I'm not playing your full podcast. So they don't really give us the audio at that point. I think we actually have it right here.
Hey, everyone, from KQED in San Francisco. This is Political Break.
I am not going to. Let's just start with Gavin Newsom.
Well, I mean, it was so absurd, the pretext of it, to come into a city for what purpose, what cause, to address what protest, to address what crime wave. I mean, all the statistics bear that out. We can regale everybody that crime trends in the last couple of years have moved significantly lower, and you're seeing historic reductions as it relates to homicides, now 60.
I want to set this up real quick, of course, because this is specifically asking about the dispatching of federal law enforcement and the National Guard.
Years, 70 pace this year, and of course violent crimes, burglaries, car thefts, even issues around quality of life improving in the city, and of course economic growth that we're experiencing. So there was no pretext to begin with. So it just was all to gin up fear, anxiety, to continue to coerce, continue to scare, and ultimately to continue to suppress, which is a big part of this larger narrative, the vote this November.
It seems like San Francisco's off the hook for now, but do you think there may be ice raids in other cities or some kinds of confrontations? We've already seen that at the Coast Guard
Well,
station.
I mean, the chill, the fear, it's. I mean, I've been come down to Los Angeles. I mean, experiencing it right now. People scared to go out to the playground or park. People still scared
Why?
to go to school, though. The super.
Which people, Gavin? Which people? I want to write up the goose meme. When he says people are scared to go out to the playground, he's talking about illegal immigrants, criminals in our country who have broken our laws. 8 USC, 32, oh man, how am I forgetting this one? It's 1325. Sorry, I can't believe I flubbed on 8 USC 1325. Let me pull that one up for you. Improper entry by an alien. It's a crime that makes them criminals. I'm not saying they're murderers. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. No, but they are criminals. Improper time or place, avoidance of examination or inspection, misrepresentation, and concealment of facts. Any alien who enters or attempts to enter the United States at any time or place other than designated immigration offices, etc., etc., you get the point. Why are these people afraid, Gavin? The DOJ will do everything necessary to protect the votes of eligible American citizens, ensuring our elections are safe and secure, Dillon said in a statement. Transparent election processes and election monitoring are critical tools for safeguarding our elections and ensuring public trust in the integrity of our elections. The DOJ did not provide a reason why the California jurisdictions, along with the Passaic County in New Jersey, were selected. But the 5 counties were specifically named by California Republican Party Chair Corin Rankin in a letter sent to Dillon on Monday, requesting the poll monitors. In recent elections, we have received reports of irregularities in these counties that we fear will undermine either the willingness of voters to participate in the election or their confidence in the announced results of the election. Newsom insisted the deployment is laying the groundwork for the Trump administration to question the results of the California vote. They will not be allowed to access the back rooms and watch this. They will then express discontent with that. They will then suggest after we win, because we will and we must, that somehow the election was fraudulent. You're going to see ICE deployed. You're going to see these masked men from Border Patrol also near voting booths and polling places. Who's afraid of that, Gavin? If you're a law-abiding American citizen, why would you fear going to vote if there's a Border Patrol agent? I'm waiting. Everybody gets it. Everybody of sound mind, that is. Well, my friends, Senator Andy Kim has responded to the dispatching of election monitors into New Jersey. There was no credibility to the Department of Justice's announcement, made just hours before Trump holds a campaign event with Jack Ciattarelli. This is clearly a political act led by election denier Pam Bondi. This isn't about election integrity. It's about the Trump administration trying to intimidate voters and cast doubt on our legitimate and secure democratic process. AAG Harmeet Dillon chimes in. Cry harder. The DOJ has been sending election monitors to New Jersey for decades. We are just here to make sure nobody's rights are violated. What's the problem? And do you have a problem when Democrat AG sent the monitors? Go on, share your tweets. We are waiting. Lies. Lies. Well, my friends, I'll tell you what matters. The 2026 midterm elections. Now, I have questions. According to Kalshi, which party will win the U.S. House next year? The Democrats are only at 58%, the Republicans 42%, which is pretty scary if you're a Democrat because historically they win when a Republican's in party and vice versa. The opposition party tends to take the House. Tends to. Right now, we're not so sure. With $1.1 million wagered, it's looking like it's a coin toss, slightly favoring the Democrats, but I got to be honest. 58 to 42%. There are casino table games with odds around that number that people play every single day and win. This is coin toss territory. If Democrats lose the midterms, they will be apoplectic. They're going to lose their minds. Could you imagine? Now, I think what we're going to end up seeing is the deploying of National Guard, federal law enforcement. I think Trump's not going to play any games with these elections, and I think their big concern is going to be ballot harvesting. Now, right now, these elections that are coming up are political off-cycle elections. They're important, absolutely important, but it's not like the midterms. So what do we have here? Jack Citarelli says 12 Democrat New Jersey mayors have endorsed him for governor. When Democratic mayors are endorsing the Republican nominee, it tells you how badly people want change. Now, I'll tell you what really worries me. Let's pop over to Call Sheet, and we're going to jump to politics here. And I want to take a look at the Virginia elections. So just in general politics, we're going to scroll down here, and who will win in New York? Oh, come on. All right, we'll just hit search. Virginia. Oh, because midterm was pre-searched. Virginia governor race, Will J. Jones, who will win the attorney general race in Virginia. Can you believe it? It's coin toss territory. No joke. Let me zoom back a little bit. Maybe we can get a better reading on this one. The Republican party's got a 59% chance of winning, and the Democratic Party's got a 45% chance of winning in Virginia. You know why that's scary? Because Jay Jones called for the murder of conservatives, and he will have the full power of law enforcement in Virginia. And I live in the tri-state. While we are West Virginia people out here, we're it's actually like basically a quad state. Within a half an hour, we can be in Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and we're in West Virginia already. So that means we go to Virginia all the time. I mean, if we're going to be driving to D.C., we can go through Maryland or Virginia. What am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to do when an AG says that the children of conservatives should be murdered? And he did. Should be murdered to force people to adopt his worldview. Am I going to trust he's going to faithfully uphold the office? Oh, no. That's where we are as a nation right now, and I hope you're prepared for what's going to happen if someone like that gets in. Now, what's funny is he was a shoo-in to win. 99% in May. Now, the Republicans are in the lead. This man, Jay Jones, is my understanding, has not lost a single endorsement. You want to know what's really scary? We drive through Virginia all the time. And this past weekend, we drove quite a bit through Virginia. Because like I said, if we're going to restaurants, there's a nice brewery out here. I recommend it in Harvest Gap. Really fantastic place. Amazing place. It's in Virginia. And I see signs everywhere for Jay Jones. People put them in their yards, knowing full well that he wants to murder children. He wasn't joking when he said it. He defended it. He stood by it. And there are people, they're putting those signs up. Now, you know what's going to happen. You go to these people and say, do you really support that? And they're going to make every excuse in the book. That's what's terrifying. You get that guy in Maine, that Nazi guy. You guys see this Democrat in Maine who's a literal Nazi? Like, he literally, for 20 years, I'm exaggerating, it was 18 years, had the Totenkopf on his chest. And I'm not talking about a Jolly Roger, because the media is trying to make it seem like it was just a skull and crossbones that looks like a Nazi symbol. No, he had the literal, identical Totenkopf, symbol of the SS that oversaw the concentration camps, on his chest. And only just now did he get it removed, covered up with some dogs. And Democrats are like, yeah, we don't care. They will vote for a literal Nazi while screaming that you and I are Nazis. So here's what I can say. The left is now far right. I love this because when they're like the far right and the far left, and I'm like, no, stop. They're pro-Nazi now. The progressives are literally endorsing and voting for Nazis. The right is still anti-Nazi. So the true anti-fascists, it's us. When the progressives, the tankies, the communists, the anti-Israel types all join together and hold hands with literal Nazis. I mean, come on. It's scary what the Democratic Party is, isn't it? So I have deep concerns about what happens in the attorney general race. And although the odds are saying Jason Miyares is likely going to win, I implore each and every one of you, nothing is more important right now. Are you doing anything to help get out the vote? Now, I'll tell you what's scary is that we're in a political off-cycle year. And this man wants to be AG and kill Republicans, and people don't pay attention to these local races. If this guy wins, I fear for the safety of my family. What is a man as psychotic and evil as Jay Jones willing to do with power? Well, as we already know, he wants to murder conservatives and their children. What do you think he'll do when he commands state law enforcement? We already saw how bad it can get during COVID. How bad do you think it'll get under this guy? They say that Donald Trump is going after his political opponents, when in fact Trump is actually just going after criminals. I guess his political opponents are criminals. It's scary where we're heading, to be completely honest. I saw this from Homath. I made a video. It's going to be up on my other channel, which is rumble.com/TimPool. And you can find it on YouTube at youtube.com/TimPool. See, good. Just the Tim Pool channel. This woman posted in response to a guy. This guy says, "Do not vote for Zohran Mamdani." She responds with a selfie of her smiling, saying, "Too bad I did today." Homath says, "This is it, friends. This is where I come from. These are the fires in which my disgust was forged, the vacant stare, the Miss America smile, the trappings of middle-class comfortist consumerism, the self-assured, momentary, tell me I'm pretty pose, clashing with the lack of effort and self-presentation, and the impatience of choosing an unflattering background, the smug, condescending delivery of the message, I have done what you warned me not to do. All of it completely irrelevant to the topic at hand, forced awkwardly in front of it, obscuring, replacing it, upstaging it, or so she hopes, standing between you and what matters. She says only, look at me, look at the difficulty I have caused you, witness the joy that I can only derive from being your problem." And he's right. She doesn't care about Zohran Mamdani. Nobody even knows what the guy is going to do because everything he's saying he's going to do makes literally no sense. We're going to make the buses free and go faster. How are you going to do that? Racing stripes? You're going to put fire decals on the side? Buses can go faster. It's called a speed limit. What is this guy talking about? He is saying, no, I really got to drive this point home. You guys, they're retarded. I'm not saying women. I mean, his Homath's talking about these ladies. Zohran Mamdani literally said, if you vote for me, I'll make the buses go faster. What? Flame decals on the sides and a cool spoiler in the back. He said, our buses are too slow. Bro, you're not gonna make the buses go faster. Buses can go fast. This is so wild, isn't it? Free childcare for everybody, he says. Who's gonna pay for it? They don't know and they don't care. He says it's not about politics. She doesn't understand them. She doesn't even think she knows better than you. She only knows that you can't tell her what to do. She doesn't even think she has power. She only knows that you have even less, and this is where she places her heart. When the bill for her foolishness comes due, oh, how her expression will change. No longer a bold and toothy smile, now a pouting bottom lip. No longer a triumphant hand and presentation of her own radiance, now a through-the-eye eyebrows scowl, arms folded. We get it. He says she is the table and the table is set, and she has placed her order, and all that now remains is waiting to be served. I love this because I'm assuming she's like a polling location or something. It exemplifies a lot of what people take issue with. Now, I want to stress, there's a video from Nick Shirley. I highlight all of this at 2 p.m. at the Tim Pool Show video, going over why women in politics is destructive to any democratic electoral system, and that is not to impugn the honor of individual women of great intelligence. But there are men equally as responsible as well. These are the weak men that enable women like this. In Nick Shirley's video, you get a guy who says, he's asked, do you want to deport illegal immigrants? And he's like, yes. And then this woman scowls at him and he's like, maybe I don't. Weak men. I tell you this, weak men. We have this story from Andy No from a year ago. 5 Somalis have been convicted in a federal fraud trial in Minneapolis for stealing more than $40 million meant to feed hungry children. And then this video, Minnesota voter fraud case tied to Somali organization. We can see what's coming. Portland clears out Antifa. Why? Because Trump is going to send in the Guard. And when he does, he is going to make it difficult for them to cheat. But don't get me wrong. There's going to be a bunch of women who don't know what they're voting for or why not. The reason why I highlight women on this one is because these women will vote and then take a selfie picture like, for what reason are you posting your face? Well, it's because women are very like, look at me, I'm pretty. I'm not trying to be a dick to women. They are. It's why they have makeup and clothes. Like, women are trying to look good, and they want people to tell them they look good. But men, the simps, they're not going to do it. Some might go with the women. They're going to be like, hey, come on and vote. And then those guys will just vote Democrat because they don't know better. And they're equally as bad. The question then becomes, what will Trump do? Trump would love unconstitutional third term, but rules out running for VP. The argument is this. Some theorize that J.D. Vance will run for the presidency, and Trump will be his vice president, and argue, I wasn't elected. The VP is not who is running. It is the president who runs, and the VP is attached to the ticket. It's a dumb argument, and I don't think that's what Trump's plan is, and I don't think it's Bannon's plan either. The argument then is that Trump would be the vice president, J.D. Vance would be the president, J.D. Vance would resign, Trump would get a third term, but he didn't get elected. Trump would then appoint J.D. Vance as VP. Silly, convoluted, and unnecessary. The sovereign is he who makes the exceptions. That's what the exemptions. That's what Orrin McIntyre was saying. Trump need only be appointed. The 22nd Amendment says you can't be elected more than twice. What if you're appointed? What if the Supreme Court appoints Donald Trump interim president because of a conflict or controversy around the election? What if during the 2020 election, there's a major terror attack taking out substantial voting locations? The Supreme Court then says we can't vacate the presidency and put no one in charge. So come January, there's no election results. And the Supreme Court says, or actually you can put it this way. Let's say a substantial number of polling locations are bombed in swing districts. We then don't get a clear victor. J.D. Vance versus Newsom, maybe J.D. Vance wins. J.D. Vance comes out and says, I can't be certain that I won because these polling locations were attacked. Gavin Newsom agrees and says, I won. J.D. Vance didn't win. What happens? Well, there's no one to inaugurate. The Supreme Court then says, for the time being, Trump will remain the president, pending a new election, which will take how long? I'm not saying it's actually what's going to happen. I'm saying it's infinitely more plausible than Trump running as VP for J.D. Vance. We don't know for sure. But Cliff Maloney has been working on these ongoing elections. So we're going to talk about the potential for voter fraud at the DOJ issue, what he thinks and what he's seeing on the ground, and can the Republicans turn things around and take New Jersey? Smash that like button, my friends. Share the show with everyone you know. This interview will be live at 4 p.m. at rumble.com/theculturewar and youtube.com/Timcast. Don't miss it. If you're watching live, it'll be just shortly for everyone else. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all in the next segment.